Hello and welcome to another episode of Real Talk in Depth. Today we'll be talking to you just a little bit and asking in form of a question. Are you a helper or are you a blocker? What I mean by that is that I elaborate a little bit on that topic. God will sometimes give you a purpose or a thing or a vision to do or something that he wants to carry out through you. And you might present this vision to someone else or your plans that you might have to someone else. And that person can be what I call a helper or a blocker. They can give you insight on how to carry it out and things that they might see or might know that will help you carry it out, or they'll block you from doing whatever. They have all kind of negative ideas, negative aspects as to why you should, why you should not. You don't have the money to do this. You don't have the resources to do this. Instead of trying to be a support system. So I ask the question again, are you a helper or are you a blocker? Let me give you a little example of something that happened to us on this week. As you all know, I love talking about vision. I love talking about purpose. And of course, I love talking about God. So God had given my daughter a vision of something that she wanted to do. So we did a celebration this week of my mom's birthday. And all of my siblings were there along with my children that are present or here in the city with us in Greenville. So she presented her idea, or she kind of elaborated a little bit on the things that she wanted to do. Now my family and I am so grateful that they were very supportive in her ideas. They went out, they tried to kind of give her ideas of what would make it easier, how she can do this and how she can do that, or they were just very supportive, I would say. We're not going to get too deep into it now, but they were very supportive of what she was doing. I call them helpers because there have been times, not with my family, that we have presented things to other people and they have been the blockers by telling us that this wouldn't do, that somebody already tried this, that this has been done this way and you should do it this way. Now, I go back to this saying that God sometimes gives you the vision. He will give other people help for you to carry out your vision, and they might not see everything as you would see it. So I ask that you always surround yourself with helpers. And it's nothing wrong with, let me tell you this here, it's nothing wrong with having family and friends to support you, or they can be blockers. But you have got to know which one are you going to serve or which one you're going to allow to help you along the way. For me, it's a helper. I know how to kind of, I would say, limit myself or set boundaries as to who I allow to input information in my life. I do have friends that I can call on, and I mean, we might not talk every day, but when I call on them and I ask them for their help, they're down, I would say they're down with me. So these are the people that I ask that you try to surround yourself with. If God gives you a vision or something to do, go out and do it. And I know we have spoken on this so many times, but I hear over and over how people have ideas, have visions, things they want to do, and they allow other people words or other people input to stop them from doing what God has purposed in their life to do. And I think we talked about this last week, that my kids and I talked about this a little on last week. God gives you a vision to do something. He will always be a provider in the vision that he has given you, but he only wants you to have the faith enough and to trust him enough to carry it out. My parents and my grandparents used to always say, if you make one step, God will make two. And to me, that means faith without works. That means if God gives you a vision and you don't trust him enough to go on and carry it out, he's going to take what he wants and give it to someone else who would trust him enough to carry out what he's asking you to do. So it's a small talk today. It's kind of a small talk, but yet an encouragement that I want everybody to go out and do what God has purpose in their heart to do. And even if you don't know your purpose or what God is asking you to do, go out and you can ask God, what is my purpose? I mean, sit back, do some quick meditation time, and this should be daily. It doesn't have to be hours. And I tell you, sometimes I spend a certain amount of time in my closet meditating. It doesn't have to be hours. God just wants you to be obedient and consistent enough to spend some time with him every day, to ask him, what did he want you to do for this day? How you want him, or how he wants you to carry out the plan and the purpose that he has for you. We're all designed to live a purpose-filled life. And I know I'm saying to you all, I'm trying to not go too deep on what I'm thinking, but I want you to really evaluate. Take some time this week and evaluate if you have not. Think about things that you want to do. Take them to God in prayer and meditation. Ask him how you can do what he wants you to do, or how he wants you to handle what he has for you to do. God will not give you a vision without provision. Remember also, this is something I always said, God will not take from another and give it to you. I'm going to share this little nugget with you. Years ago, my husband and I used to ride around with the kids. We used to have a dessert. We used to always get a little ice cream and ride around. And we dreamed about owning our own home. And there was this house that I liked that had these big columns in front of the house. And I always wanted and just being, I'm from the Delta, them folks' house, just like that. We always had a vision of, I wanted that home. But God would not take those people's homes and give it to me. But what he did do is that he blessed me with a home with columns just like I saw. So he didn't take their home and give it to me, but he did bless me with a home with the creativity, the vision, and the ideas that I had with a few additives. So just remember, God won't take from another and give it to you. But what he will do, if you're not obedient enough to follow through on what he's asking you to do, he will find someone else who will have faith, trust him to carry through his plan and his purpose in your life. Despite what other people say, will you still do it? Those goes back to those blockers. Despite what the blockers are saying, will you still carry out the vision that God has given to you? That's a question that you got to ask yourself, which you should have felt on the beginning of the helper and the blocker. But no matter what other people say, don't let them disturb you. And no matter what you see, the eyes and the ears play a big part in what goes on in your life. You can see someone else doing almost the same thing that God has asked you to do, or the vision that God has given you, but because that you see Sally over here doing it, or John over here doing it, and if your name is Sally or John, I'm not talking to you, but if you see either one of those people over there doing it, you're like, well, I'm not going to do it because they're over here doing it. But what you don't know is God wants you just to step on out there and do the thing, because he has even more for you to do, or more to add on for you to do. But he just wants to see if you would just take the first step. So go out and take that first step, take that first leap, no matter who is behind you saying, don't do it, don't do it. No matter who you're seeing doing one or the other, or who you're listening to. Make sure that you listen to God, the Holy Spirit, who's your comforter, who he has given you to lead and guide you. And if you don't know, like I say, go and ask God. Ask him for knowledge, wisdom, revelation knowledge, and understanding as to how to do the thing that he's asking you to do. So that's daily. You have to ask him. Or you can wake up every morning, because that's what I ask sometimes. I wake up every morning asking, what can I do today? What is my assignment for me to do today? It might be just to give an encouraging word. It might be to sow a seed in something. It might be to buy somebody breakfast, buy somebody lunch. You never know. And those seeds that you plant will grow and will harvest. So if you want to sow good kindness, you want to reap good kindness, sow some kindness. You want to reap a smile, sow a smile. If you want to actually reap money or get more money, try to sow some. Try to be a blessing to others. There are kids around here that need things. There are people all around that need something. I'm not saying you have to have an abundant amount of money. It could be $2, $3, $5. There are people that you can bless. We hear all the time of the people, and I don't know the proper name for it, but you can go to one of the fast food restaurants in the drive-thru where pay it forward, where somebody has already paid it forward for somebody. Let's try to do that. Let's try to pay it forward for someone. I mean, just try it and see. And I think that God will see your obedience in doing something to be able to help someone or smile for someone, because you never know. The mom, it might be a mom in the back who has kind of strategized, or behind you, who has strategized that her children say, well, mama, I want this, I want a fast food. I'm not going to call any name. So she have Always, because you know why? Because I had to do it. I had to try to figure out, based on the monies that I had in my pocket, how I was going to be able to get something for all of my kids. And I'm not the only one who has had to do it. Other people have had to do it too. So sometimes we have to pay it forward to be a blessing to someone. They don't have to know who it came from. Only person that really matters who it came from is God. God see that you are being obedient, that you are a giver, and he sees that kind heart within his children. He's going to be a blessing to you. So, in other words, we're going to end this up a little bit. My thing is always kind of sit back, relax, and take this week to do it. To ask yourself, are you surrounded by helpers? Are you surrounded by blockers? If you're surrounded by the blockers, you have to find a way to kind of remove yourself or kind of just ease off from. And it's okay to say no. It's okay to say no. It's okay to kind of move on, to try to get in line with the people who are here to help you. I reminded you on last week, if you want to be down with birds, you got to be with birds. But if you want to fly with eagles, you got to fly with eagles. So sometimes it's uncomfortable for you to do the thing that you're trying to do. And sometimes it feels like you might be hurting a few feelings, or your family feel like, okay, well, she done deserted us. None of that is true. But you got to keep growing. You got to surround yourself with people who's going to allow you to grow and be that support system while you grow. So go out today and find, this week, and think about who are these helpers for you, or who are these blockers. Leave the blockers, get with the helpers. We ask that you be purposeful in your living. I pray that you enjoyed this message this week, that you did get something out of this message, and we ask that you like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Have a blessed week, and we'll see you next time.